White, thank you for adjusting your schedule. You will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and our timekeeper will give you a gentle reminder when you have 30 seconds left, and you'll hear the bell at the end of 2 minutes. We have 4 questions for you, and we'll just have an additional 2 minutes for each question, and then that will be the end of the process. The time clock will begin when you start talking. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Chairwoman Gibson and delegate members that are here. Congresswoman Ricky Spector, Wanda Wallace, Delegate Joyce Smith, Delegate Nathaniel Oaks, and all the constituents and members of the 41st Legislative District of Baltimore City. Indeed, it is an honor to be here as a hopeful for the delegate vacancy for the 41st Legislative District of Maryland. Before I suspect the oral questionnaire part of this interview starts, let me start off by stating why I desire to work to earn the respect of this community as an advocate for the opportunity of all persons living in the 41st District, the ability to live with a sense of dignity, which means while in Annapolis and throughout the state of Maryland, advocating for fair and affordable housing, job training for young people who are either trying to get into the work field or those who are trying to re-enter back into society as a whole. For those who, for the elderly who are trying to hold onto their homes on limited incomes, for the business owners who are trying to advance in their merchant selves, and for each and every person who is a constituent in the 41st District. I am a part of the 41st District. I live in Park Heights. Just recently, I ran as a writing candidate for City Council for District 6, and I'm an educator in Baltimore City. I am a part of a few different boards. Thank you for your time. I look forward for the questions.
All right, thank you. So your first question, what committee of the legislature would be most relevant to serve on for the constituents of the 41st District?
For me, the Education Committee is really important. Young people are the future, as we know, and we know with the $500 deficit that the governor said that's going to be happening, a lot of that has hit Baltimore City specifically. Last year, there was $100 million cut in the education fund, and so making sure that we're leveraging the funds that we do have and the resources that we do have to educate Baltimore City school students and getting them prepared for college and career. As we know, the stats say that there are nearly 89% of students don't graduate from Baltimore City public schools proficient in math and reading. So we want to make sure they're ready and prepared. So I think that's an important committee, as well as the redevelopment committee. It's important with all the slot money that's coming to District 6 or the 41st District specifically. Throughout the years, we see the redevelopment happening in our district. And so we want to make sure that not just some communities are getting some of those funds, but all the communities like the Park Heights community and specifically, which where I live. So those small business owners can really grow there. And the mixed space, so we can have affordable housing in those areas as well. And so I want to work on behalf of all the constituents, not just a particular sex.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Delegate Oaks.
Mr. White, if you're selected, what steps will you take to ensure accountability and transparency to protect and strengthen the 41st Legislature?
Thank you, Delegate Oaks. A part of my campaign platform was access. I ran on 4 basic principles. It was about HEAL in order to rebuild. The acronyms HEAL, Health, Education, Access, and Leadership, transparent leadership. And so accountability is important when we have to remember our constituents, they elect us to represent their issues. We're just a figurehead, or you all are just figureheads, and those who are elected to represent the issues of those who send you to Annapolis. And so advisory review boards are always important, like we see right now with the DOJ report that just came out, how important that is to make sure that our elected officials are held accountable. So I think it's very important to make sure that the checks and balance systems are in place by holding people accountable that we elect.
Thank you. Ms. Wallace?
What have you done in a leadership capacity to garner tangible and impactful results in the 41st District?
So I am an advisor to the Pimlico Merchant Association, and in that capacity, what I help advise them on are things like policy issues. I'm finishing my graduate degree in governance and public policy. I'll be done in the next couple of months. I'm excited about that. Long time coming. And so I advise them on federal and state policies. And so I've been supporting the merchants, and I just want to continue to do more work.
Okay, and now the last question comes from Councilwoman Spector.
Mr. White, what's your thoughts and how would you assist in retaining and bringing employment and economic anchors to the 41st District, such as you mentioned previous at the racetrack?
Thank you for the question, Councilwoman Spector. There are, what I would do would be particular things like, right now when we have JARC. JARC is an organization that really helps for reentry in the 41st Legislative District for those who, anything that's prohibiting them from having a livable life, that's jobs, that's education, that's opportunity for housing. And so a lot of times you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have to see what's working. And I think that they've been doing a spectacular job since they're around. That's just one example. But what I would do is to leverage my resources that I worked on Capitol Hill for a year. I was an intern with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. When I learned a lot about legislative processes. And so I will call out to a lot of my friends and get input and insight on what's worked for them, and also talk to the constituents and see what they need and what they desire, and bring all the partners to the table and come up with solutions. Look, we're not going to satisfy people every day all the time, but if we can have the conversations and making sure that everyone is considered, then that can bring about the development that we need for the 41st District.
Thank you so much. That concludes the questions and the interview process that we have today. We thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you all. Good job.
I could talk to you more that day. I know.
Lisa was driving down the street. You knew she was driving.
Oh,
Lisa.
I hope not.
Yes,
For those who are just coming in, I'd like to go back over the process. As I said,